Hello everyone, and today I will be reading Wriothesley Listener by me. So let's get into it. Wriothesley had an idea of who you were. After all, he was not entirely clueless just because he was a Mirapide. He knew about things, but he just wanted to know what your goal was. He had heard rumors about you being part of the fatui. He had tried to research into the subject himself and find out more, but it was difficult. But he knew that you were quite suspicious. Not to mention, the way that you were too interested in investigating secrets that were not your own to know. He had no idea how to keep you from doing that. But, for the most part, he watched from afar, curious and interested. He didn't know why you wanted to find out, but he knew he would step in if need be. So far, it was enjoyable to see you like this. To see you try your best to figure out all the secrets of Mirapide. He was rather amused, really, because he was doing a great job of hiding them. And even better, he was impressed, because you were doing very well, and you were on the track to finding them. Except when you had made sure that he was not in his office and decided to sneak in there. You really did not expect to be fooled, and for him to actually still be inside. You were quite sure that you just saw him get out. In fact, just a couple moments ago, he was just right before your eyes, conversing with a prisoner. But maybe there was an entrance that you didn't know about, or he had an ability that you hadn't accounted for. Whatever it may be, the smirk on his face, it said it all. He knew what you were doing. You were found out, and you had no idea what to do. You were in the fortress after all, and there were no laws that could keep him from punishing you as he sees fit. And being a spy is not exactly a light matter. So you found out my secret. Now what? You look into his eyes, trying to be as bold as possible. But he just smiles, chuckling. You tell me, now what? What do you intend to do, really? I would like to think you had some noble goal behind all of this. Why do you want to figure out things that are not yours? No. You could just be happy. Get away from this place. Soon. Your sentence is not even that long. So why are you getting yourself in more trouble? You know I could extend your sentence if I see fit. I know that. And if you want to, then you may. I'm not going to stop you. But does that mean that you're going to leave me alone? He chuckles, shaking his head. You see, I don't want to extend your sentence. I truly think that aside from being in the fatui, you do have some goals that are admirable. Perhaps they don't go well with what I want, but they are good nonetheless. I can't lie about that. As for what I'm going to do, how about we make a deal? A deal? You feel a little bit confused. He doesn't have to. He could just get away from this by doing whatever he wants. Perhaps you were mistaken about him, but right now as you watch him, you're careful and on guard. You see, I don't exactly want you to be a little bit misguided here. There are secrets that I must keep. For Fontaine, and for the fortress. Secrets that you may not know. But there are some that I can let you in on. But it all depends on what you tell me, and what you want, and whether or not I can believe it. I think that makes me pretty fair, correct? Well, you could say that, I suppose. You're not being entirely unreasonable. Maybe then. Maybe I could tell you. But why would you even do that? It's not in your interest anyway. It is not. That's true. But I can't help but feel like that's what I want to do. And there's not anyone to stop me, so I guess that's what I will do right now. Of course, that is if you take my deal. If you don't, I will let you go this time. But if you still repeat this mistake again, I can't quite assure you of your own safety, he says, smiling. And it's totally weird. You can't quite make an impression out of him, because you've yet to understand him yourself. But when he holds out his hand, you shake it. And months later, when it's finally time for you to leave the fortress, you cannot. Because right now, not only do you belong here, but your heart does as well. It all started with him telling you about the history of Remuria, all the research that he's done, every secret that is known that could benefit your own research. He knew what you were doing was not entirely out of the law, not to mention, it would not harm anyone. The fatui themselves have no interest in harming Fontaine. They have their gnosis, and most importantly, the knave is Fontanian. They have interest in keeping Fontaine safe. So, suspicion was not warranted, and he found himself kind of obliged to tell you about things that would benefit you. Of course, there were some things that you could not tell them, and he trusted you enough for that. But how you reached that point, it almost felt impossible. It started with you falling asleep in his own room, with him tucking you in, a blanket over your form, making you tea when you were sick, coming into your own room to visit you and talk to you. It was all in the little gestures. Sometimes, it even meant sending you gifts and letters, since he did not want to seem so close to you all of a sudden. But, eventually, came the day that the two of you were able to admit your own feelings, for they were real and true. Perhaps the development was sudden, for both of you, but it was the best thing you've ever gotten in your life. And as for him, he never thought he would love a spy. And somehow, it feels very stupid of him, for that could be his own end. But if that truly turns out to be the case, and you've been lying to him all along, then he thinks that you've done a good job. And the least you deserve is to finally complete that mission of yours. For now, he will be a fool and play right into your hands, for love was not something that either of you could control.